Say hi.
Hi.
What's your name? And how old are you?
4.
4. And what's your favorite color?
Purple.
Purple. And what's your favorite thing to do? Do you like to swim? You can talk. You're being shy in front of the camera. No one can see you right now. Do you want to talk?
Come on now, say something, talk to the camera, show the world that you can speak. Let's go, let's do it. This little girl is sitting there like a deer in headlights, wondering why she's being grilled with all these questions because of her mother's pride. That's why. If your child has already been exposed to millions of people in a negative way, what are you doing as her mother, as her protector, putting her back on display for more public scrutiny? What kind of hellscape are we living in where people think this is okay? This child has no concept of social media or of the exposure and judgment that she has been receiving. Why are you dragging her into it and essentially offering her up on a silver platter to be judged more? We can all thank my sister-in-law, Anna, for the topic of today's video, because when I was out with my friends on Saturday night, Anna was on TikTok getting all the latest drama for me. She sent me a couple of videos that she came across on Saturday night, and she's like, I think you might want to see these. I think you might want to check these out. There may be like a video topic in here somewhere. And because I was out in public, it was loud. I couldn't really even hear these videos, so all I did is I downloaded them to my phone to watch later, but I could tell just based on the body language of this woman in these videos, she seemed like she was really riled up about something, like she had some kind of hot take that maybe was controversial, and my spidey senses were tingling like, I feel like I should maybe save these, and good thing I did, because guess what? She deleted one of them. So everybody say thank you to Anna. She was out there on the front lines for me this weekend gathering content for a video. Without her, I probably wouldn't have what I needed to make today's video. And what she sent me is this just in, the latest TikTok drama. People are really angry at this mom for a series of videos she posted featuring her child. And I'm gonna show you the first one, and you're probably gonna look at me like, where is this going? What's the point? Why are we sitting here watching this? But I hope that you hang with me, because this is the beginning of what becomes a greater social media phenomenon that I really want to focus on for the topic of today's video. And it has to do with smaller creators who go viral overnight. They have all this new attention and eyes on them, and how they cope with the aftermath of that and what they do in the days following. Because in a sense, it can feel like going viral is largely out of your control. It's an algorithm thing. You don't really know how it works. You don't know what videos are going to pop off or when. And it's kind of like a creator's dream to have something you post hit the algorithm, as I call it. Your content is being pushed out to all these new people who have not been previously exposed to you. They're clicking on your video, they're clicking on your account, they're snooping around. They want to see, is this a person that I'm interested in following or not? What else do they have to offer here? And sometimes people go viral for good, positive reasons, and other times people go viral for very negative reasons, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Because when you have a video that goes viral, you have a series of choices of how you conduct yourself moving forward in the wake of that virality. And in my opinion, this creator did the exact opposite of what I would recommend someone do in order to capitalize on this viral moment to grow on social media. I'm kind of looking at her content and her behavior over the course of the past week as a case study of exactly what not to do. And I think there's a discussion to be had there, particularly around the argument that all attention is good attention. I don't know that I necessarily believe that, so I want to explore that in this video. I just kind of wanted to preface with that because I'm going to show you the very first thing that this woman posted that we're going to be talking about today, and you're probably going to be like, what's the point? So I want to give you a roadmap of exactly where we're going in this video, okay? The first thing I'm going to show you, that's not the end of the conversation, that is the beginning of the conversation, and I hope that you hang around. And before we get too far into it, I'm excited to once again be partnering with Bombas on today's video. Bombas is a comfort-focused premium basics brand with a mission to help those in need. I love telling people about Bombas because their products not only feel good when you wear them, but they're a brand that does a lot of good in the world too. The founders of Bombas learned that the #1 most requested clothing item at homeless shelters was socks. From there, they made it their mission to create really high quality socks, and they've even branched out now into things like t-shirts and underwear and even slippers. For every item purchased, Bombas will donate an item to someone who needs it. They have helped donate over 150 million socks, underwear, and t-shirts, which I think is so wholesome and absolutely a mission I can get behind. And I have never owned socks as nice as these. I've been slowly replacing replacing all of my socks with Bombas, and the other day I went to my drawer, I just reached in, grabbed a pair, put them on, didn't really look at them, and I got like 5 steps out of my bedroom before I looked down and I was like, oh, these feel horrible. They were rough and scratchy. They were so ill-fitting. They were like sliding around my foot. One of them had a hole in the heel, and it turned out that I had one straggling pair of my old socks still in my drawer. I didn't know they were still there. I thought when I reached in there I was getting Bombas these days, but that's not the case. I will not tell you what brand they were, but they weren't Bombas, that's for sure. And the quality difference was apparent to me immediately. And that was the moment I was like, look, I'm a sock snob now. I own that. I simply can't go back now that I know what quality socks are supposed to feel like. It's a simple pleasure in life. I will not compromise. They have tons of fun colors and styles on the website, but I'm pretty boring and basic. These are the ones I wear every single day. I think I have 6 or 7 pairs of them to get me through the week. The best features of all their socks though are the built-in arch support. It's this woven piece. It gives you the perfect amount of compression and support in your arches. And they don't have that annoying toe seam right along the edge. The seam goes across the top of your toes like that. You don't even feel it. And the ankle socks have this heel pad on the back, which is absolutely essential as far as I'm concerned. They've got a sock for every occasion and every lifestyle. Like I said, the ankle socks, these are my go-to, but I hear the cool kids these days are now wearing quarter length socks, so I got a couple pairs of those. They've got gripper socks, they've got compression, they've got merino wool. These are so soft and so cozy. I put on a pair of these at night when I put my pajamas on and I'm sitting down on the couch to rot for the evening. And I'm not a runner, but their running sock design looks ingenious. It has that ankle pad on the back, but it also has a piece on the front too to prevent chafing. They really have thought of it all. Their customer service is unmatched. They have a 100% happiness guarantee, free returns and free exchanges for any reason. They've got you covered. And I wanted to be sure to mention that they now have international shipping as well. Feel good and do good with Bombas. New customers can get 20% off their first purchase by heading to the link in the description box below and using my code Hannah Alonso at checkout. Thanks again, Bombas, for your support of the channel and for sponsoring today's video. All right, so let's dig into this whole situation. I'm gonna show you this very first video that was brought to my attention thanks to my sister-in-law, and it got 5 million views in just a few days too, and it has a corner of the internet outraged for a few reasons. I'm not gonna tell you why people are mad up front. We'll talk about it after we watch it. I want you to watch it first and see if anything stands out to you. What reasons do you think this creator gave people to be mad at her? Okay, let's see. The text on her video says, "Let's open up the homeschool this AM." Not a whole lot happening so far.
Pencil. There's a. I'm gonna throw it away for mommy. Go throw it away. Oh, and then we got you a coloring page for when you're done with this. Here's your morning workbook. The weather looks like at your house. Where's the clouds? It's kind of like that, yeah. Job. Fall. It's fall right here. Fall. Okay, look. And what's the temperature? Is it cold, cool, warm? Good job, you're so smart. Let's trace the. Can you trace it? Good job. Now, can you color in 2 circles? You can use a crayon if you want.
So that's it. The video seems harmless enough, right? It was a 2-minute clip of this mom setting up her morning routine of her little in-home homeschool office. Her 4-year-old comes in and does some morning worksheets. But you would not believe the outrage on this video. The biggest thing being the pacifier. The child that's shown in this video is 4 years old. We come to know that later, but that is a fact. She's 4 and she's still using a pacifier, particularly in situations where it doesn't appear to the viewer like she would really even need one, right? Pacifiers, as we know, are used for soothing for babies and toddlers and helping them with their emotional regulation when they have a hard time doing that themselves. But this child appears otherwise calm. She's in the comfort of her own home. She's with her mom. She's still in her PJs, which people also have a very strong opinion about. So this doesn't seem like a situation where she would particularly need a pacifier, and she's 4 years old, which is way older than pacifier use is recommended. People immediately jump to the comments to say things like this: the pacifier at that age tells me everything I need to know. Why does that teenager have a passy? Came straight to the comments, lol. A binky with like a cringing gif of a guy. The extreme babying is why we're having issues with entitlement. Parents need to do better. And notice the like counts on these comments too. That top comment has 190,000 likes. Hundreds of thousands of people apparently are noticing and are concerned about the same thing, the pacifier use. This isn't just a few trolls in her comments looking to be mean. This is a significant number of people all feeling some type of way about that. And this video has over 5,000 comments, most of them about things like the pacifier and something else that is concerning that we'll talk about later too. Then somebody posted this photo in the comments. This comes from a children's dentistry website about what's known as pacifier teeth. This is where the teeth essentially grow around the presence of the pacifier. The way the teeth are positioned is a direct result of having something between those front teeth for a significant amount of time. It causes what's called an open bite, where those back teeth are touching but the front teeth are not. It can also cause what's called a cross bite, where some of the teeth are in front of the other ones when they shouldn't be, and it can cause those front top teeth to protrude outward versus straight down. This is called malocclusion, the misalignment of the teeth. And a 2001 study found that 71% of children who used a pacifier beyond age 4 had malocclusion. But for children who stopped using the pacifier before age 4, between ages 3 and 4, only 36% of those children showed signs of malocclusion. And that number was even less. Only 14% of children had issues if they stopped using a pacifier before they were 2. So the conclusion of this data is that the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry recommends discontinuing pacifier use no later than age 3. And that's because they're still so young and they're malleable, and there's a really good chance that the teeth will correct themselves and go back to a normal position if you stop using the pacifier before they turn 3 years old. If you continue to use the pacifier past 3 years old, then it's going to be a lot harder for teeth to shift back to a normal bite pattern, and you're likely going to need intervention from an orthodontist. We're talking braces, retainers, palate extenders, as well as potential myofunctional therapy where you're working on like bite patterns and breathing patterns, swallowing patterns, as well as speech therapy to correct any speech impediments caused by the incorrect positioning of things. These kinds of treatments can be very expensive. They can be time consuming. In the case of orthodontic procedures, they can be really painful for the child. And all this conversation about pacifier teeth has actually been very relevant to my own life because I have a toddler with a very mild case of pacifier teeth. We started to notice that it was becoming an issue when she turned 2 years old. And my husband and I had a conversation like, okay, this is clearly an issue. It needs to be addressed. What's our strategy here? Obviously, the pacifier had to go. We knew that, but this was a really inconvenient time for us. And I know there's no perfect time, right? But she turned 2 in April, and then my husband left for 6 weeks for a work trip. I was solo parenting her during that time. Then the same week that he got back from that work trip, we packed up and we moved across the country. Then a few weeks after that, she started at a new preschool. Then a few weeks after that, we potty trained her. And then a few weeks after that, we finally took the pacifier away. We took her to the store. She got to pick out a new toy and she traded it in for her pacifier, and we quit cold turkey that night. It was fine. It was no big deal. She's a happy camper. So it was a solid 4 months between when we noticed that the pacifier was becoming an issue until we finally decided to take it away. And that was 4 months more of damage that we sort of signed on for because of the situation we were in. And we did feel that it was kind of cruel or inhumane to put this toddler through all these gigantic life changes back to back to back to back, while also taking away her main source of comfort during that time. It just felt horrible. So we made that choice as her parents to let her have the pacifier for a few more months until we got her settled in all the other areas of her life. But we also consulted a pediatric dentist who looked at her and reassured us that this is a really mild case. It's not a big deal. As long as you stop the pacifier use by age 3, she's gonna be fine. It's gonna go back to normal, just like the AAPD recommends. So we took it away at 2 years and 4 months old. It's been a few weeks now and her teeth are already shifting. Already her bite pattern is going back to normal. We're not concerned as parents. I usually keep details about my child and about my parenting off the internet completely, but I give you that context to demonstrate demonstrate that these kinds of parenting decisions are very nuanced. And there can be things going on behind the scenes that you don't know about that factor into those decisions, factor into the behaviors you see. If you were to see a video of my daughter with a pacifier still in her mouth at nearly 2.5 years old, you might feel judgy about that. You might be like, she's too old for that, Hannah. What are you doing? And I understand that, completely get that. That's why I choose not to show things like that, because that's a decision that we as parents made for our family, our child, our situation, and it doesn't really matter what anybody else has to say about it at the end of the day. And when you see a TikTok video of a 4-year-old with a pacifier, it can feel so easy and tempting to jump to a million conclusions about what's going on with that child, what's wrong with the parents, why are they letting her have that, and you feel really judgy about their decisions. The internet can be so toxic in the sense that you can take a 2-minute snippet of someone's life and you can extrapolate that to paint this entire picture of them that might not even be accurate. The culture of mom shaming can be so vile online. I get that. That's why I don't talk about my parenting decisions online, because I'm not interested in hearing people's opinions on it. So one lens to look at these comments through is that they are just haters. They're judging you, they're being mean, they're being awful, they're passing unnecessary judgment without the full context, right? They just don't know what they're talking about. Write them off as haters, ignore them, we don't care about what you have to say. But of course, there's also another way to look at this, as with most things in life, that maybe, just maybe, these commenters are coming from a place of genuine concern. That's why I gave so much information about pacifier use and pacifier teeth, because this is a real issue at hand that can cause lifelong damage. And maybe the commenters who are seeing a 4-year-old with a pacifier are feeling like, that's really bad, like I want to intervene in some way. Like, stop, wait, I know about this consequence of using a pacifier, let me inform you so that you don't fall into that, right? As a young mom myself, I only learned about pacifier teeth through social media. And there's a whole discussion to be had there that I'm not going to get into about like the quality of pediatric care sometimes, how young parents are kind of rushed through these appointments, check, they're hitting all their milestones, get you out the door. We're not always having all the conversations we need to be having from the healthcare professionals in our lives about these kinds of things. And unfortunately, the responsibility falls on the parent to learn about these things from somewhere. And for me, that was from social media. When I was pregnant, I saw a video very similar to this of a mom showing her daily routine, whatever, and there was a child in the background with a pacifier way beyond when pacifier use is recommended. I go to the comments, and it was only at that point that I realized why that's a bad thing. I thought maybe people thought pacifiers were bad because it's something that kids can get addicted to, right? And they throw tantrums when they don't get it, and sometimes it's just easier to give it to them. I thought the highest risk of using pacifiers too long was that you were enabling behavior issues. I had never even once considered that there would be issues with oral development, but it completely makes sense. And that fact clicked for me when I saw that video and I read the comments, and there was discourse being had about why pacifier use is bad at that age. And you know what? I learned something that day. I did my own research. That fact of like pacifiers need to be stopped by a certain age, that stuck with me. And because of that, we delayed pacifier use for our own child. And when we did give it to her, we only gave it to her during specific times, like at bedtime or if she was riding in the car. And I was watching her teeth like a hawk so that if we noticed there was a problem, we could address it. But I never would have done any of that or even recognize that there was a problem if I didn't learn about pacifier teeth. And for me, I learned about it through social media, as kind of sad as that sounds. But that's the power of informed decisions. When you know better, you do better. Sorry if that whole conversation about pacifier teeth felt very mind-numbing or irrelevant, right? But the reason I say all of that is because as the creator who's putting out that video on social media that people have a problem with, like your child having a pacifier at age 4, you might view those commenters as just mom-shaming haters, which absolutely do exist on the internet in some capacity. But on the other hand, you might view this through the lens of these are just concerned, well-intentioned people who are trying to inform me of the risk that maybe I don't know about yet. The way that you receive and interpret feedback on social media can be completely different and totally skewed depending on if you believe those commenters to be haters or well-intentioned people. And this shapes your actions moving forward. This helps you decide what you're gonna do, how you're gonna address it. Are you gonna approach it from the angle of F you, you're just a hater, my kid's fine, don't tell me what to do? Or are you gonna say, oh my gosh, thank you for your concern, I'll look into that. Maybe I'll make a different choice. I didn't know about that previously. This is a big piece of what I wanna talk about today, how creators interpret the feedback they're receiving and how that guides their actions moving forward, particularly in situations where they're going viral, where they're getting so much more attention than they're ever used to. And it's this really big shock to the system, like, wow, there are so many eyes on me, so much judgment. What do I do with it? It's a very fascinating situation. We'll get to that soon. But before that, there's a second big thing that people are really upset about, and that is regarding the way the mom is homeschooling. I'm gonna replay that section as a little refresher because I know I just yapped for a really long time about pacifiers, so let's rewatch that here.
Your morning workflow. The weather looks like at your house. Where's the clouds? It's kind of like that, yeah. Fall? It's fall right here. Fall. Okay, look. And what's the temperature? Is it cold, cool, warm? Good job, you're so smart.
What she's showing in this video is her daughter doing a couple of worksheets, her morning work for homeschool, and it's asking questions like, what's the weather outside today? What season is it? What's the temperature? And there's little graphics where she can circle her answers, right? This does look like a pretty age-appropriate activity to be doing. I don't have any problems with that. But what people in the comments are noticing, particularly educators, is that the mom is doing all of the talking. She's asking the child a question and then she's immediately answering the question for her and pointing and telling her where to circle on the page. This came up in a video I posted around this time last year about the unschooling trend on social media, which is slightly different than homeschooling. And we had a really big discussion about underqualified moms choosing to homeschool or unschool and how even though their intentions might be good, their methods are flawed. She was like, it's fall, here's fall, this is the one, this is where you should be circling. And she's like pointing to and gesturing and basically doing the work for her. Which, side note, this is actually very funny to me because she's like, oh, it's fall outside, but this video was posted on September 6th. It's actually not fall, technically. Pumpkin spice mommy influencers feel like September 6th qualifies as fall, but in school, you would learn that the autumnal equinox is September 22nd. Just saying. The biggest thing to notice in this interaction is that the child said not one word. She sat there completely silent with the pacifier in her mouth and she circled the things her mom told her to circle. She didn't learn anything in this moment. I'm confident saying that. She was not given a chance to think or speak for herself. She just followed directions from mom. And then at the end of it, her mom said, "Good job, you're so smart," which people are also taking an issue with because the child didn't demonstrate any knowledge whatsoever. The mom is praising her for doing nothing. Here are some of the comments regarding the homeschool aspect of this video. Teacher here, so the lack of independent attempts is jarring. Also the reliance on worksheets to teach. The adult teaches. The worksheets are for practice. This is everything wrong with homeschooling. The complete lack of skill to teach will harm this child long term. Also, the silence. As a preschool teacher, this is interesting. As a speech language pathologist with an education degree, this was a painful watch. So you have professionals, you have actual educators watching this being like, oh no, lots of red flags here. Which, having an education degree myself, I do agree with these comments. You're literally telling her the answer instead of giving her the opportunity to try. How is that learning? Every stereotype about homeschooling is all in this video. Thank you for proving teachers' points. And if she didn't want comments about what she does with her children, then she wouldn't put this online for everyone to see. Gives her the answer, wow, you're so smart. And this is why kids need real teachers. Again, so many of these comments having tens of thousands of likes of people agreeing with them. This is not just a couple trolls in the comments. This is thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And again, to be fair, this is like 30 seconds of one homeschooling day. We don't know what happens the other 99.9% of the time. But no doubt, she has gained some serious traction and attention based on two things, the pacifier use and her homeschooling technique in this video. Now you might be thinking again, what's the big deal, Hannah? Why are you covering this? This seems kind of pointless, and I would agree to this point. This first TikTok video in itself, not that much substance, not enough to make an entire video out of. It's what happened in the days following and all the videos she's posted since, and how this creator has been conducting herself in the wake of all this negative attention that I think we need to focus on. This needs to be studied. What's happened since says a lot about the game of social media, the power of negative attention, and how creators will cross lines in the name of views and attention. attention. She went semi-viral for this pacifier video, 5 million views, and she is milking it for all it's worth. The very next day, she posts this video where she takes her 4-year-old and she sits her down in front of a camera and she makes her say certain words to the camera to prove to the world how smart she is and that she does actually speak. The concept for this piece of content alone is crossing a line for me. What are you doing involving your 4-year-old in internet drama? Who thought this would be a good idea? Who thought that this would be an appropriate way to respond and address this? If your child has already been exposed to millions of people in a negative way, what are you doing as her mother, as her protector, putting her back on display for more public scrutiny? What kind of hellscape are we living in where people think this is okay? This child has no concept of social media or of the exposure and judgment that she has been receiving. Why are you dragging her into it and essentially offering her up on a silver platter to be judged more? It is beyond me. This is unacceptable. I get so fired up about stuff like this. Kids should not be on social media in this capacity. And unsurprisingly, she deleted this video shortly after it was posted, but not before I could download it. Thanks again to my sister-in-law, right? This was a video I watched in a loud bar on a Saturday night. I was like, this looks concerning. She'll probably delete this if I had a guess. I didn't even get a chance to look at the comments on that night when I did download it, but what I'm guessing happened is that people were really extra unhappy with this response and she realized that it wasn't doing her any favors, so she just deleted it. Of course, I'm going to be blurring the child's face in this video, but I do think we need to show it and talk about the mom's behavior within all of this.
Okay, so for those of you that keep still blowing up this whole pacifier thing with her yesterday, which whatever, thank you for the comments, because any comments are good comments, right?
Her mentality of any comments are good comments is a big one that comes into play later, so keep that in mind. She is living for the attention she's getting off of this. She's eating it up, okay? She's continuing to try and squeeze attention and engagement out of this situation by forcing her 4-year-old to sit down and talk for this video.
We're gonna show you how well educated this child is. She just turned 4, and I can guarantee you she talks better than most 30-year-olds on this app, even with a passy in her mouth. How well she speaks, okay? Since some of you are so concerned about how it's gonna delay her speech and all this other stuff, even though I really don't care, but I'm an Aries, so I like to prove my point. And so here we are.
How about not making this about you and wanting to prove your point and instead protect your child from social media?
Say hi.
Hi.
What's your name? And how old are you?
4.
4. And what's your favorite color?
Purple.
Purple. And what's your favorite thing to do? Do you like to swim? You can talk. You're being shy in front of the camera. No one can see you right now. Do you want to talk?
Say swim.
Come on now, say something, talk to the camera, show the world that you can speak. Let's go, let's do it. We have a point to prove. Like, this little girl is sitting there like a deer in headlights, wondering why she's being grilled with all these questions because of her mother's pride. That's why.
And you like to build blocks?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do at home?
Play with blocks.
Play with blocks. And what's your favorite thing to do outside of the house?
Swim in the pool.
Swim in the pool. You're a good swimmer, aren't you?
What's your favorite dinosaur? Pink.
Yeah, but you know all kinds of dinosaurs. What's your favorite kind of dinosaur? What was it? T-Rex and what'd you call it? Triceratops.
Can you say
Pterodactyl. Can you say those? T-Rex.
You have to say it loud if they can hear you so you can talk.
Once again, the mom's just feeding her the answer. She's not giving her a chance to speak for herself. The child is just repeating the words that the mom is saying in the same way that she was just circling the things on the paper that mom told her to circle. And what's even more chilling about this is you can hear the other sisters behind the camera. This is a family of 4 girls. There are 2 older siblings here. You might have heard one of the older sisters saying, you have to say it louder so that they can hear you so that you can talk. What this tells me is that this appears to be a family affair. there. The mom likely had to explain to the whole family why she's setting up in the middle of the house, putting her phone up and sitting with the child, forcing her to talk to the camera. Like, okay, family, I'm getting some mean comments on TikTok and people are really upset with your little sister over here, so I'm gonna prove a point real fast. Come on over here and prove to the strangers on the internet that you can talk. One of the older siblings seems to have some awareness of that situation because she's in the background saying, talk louder so they can hear you. Who is they? They is strangers on the internet. This mom is communicating the message to her young daughters that there are mean people out there in the world and we need to set the record straight for them. These aren't people you know in your real life. How can these children even conceptualize who they are that they're doing all of this for? I think it's safe to say that the 4-year-old in this video is not internalizing this at all, but the older ones maybe seem to have more of a concept of what exactly is going on. And in my opinion, this is not a lesson that these young girls need to learn right now. Put the phone down, deal with your internet drama like an adult in private. Shield that from your kids. They don't need to know about it at this age. Involving your kids and exposing them like this is deplorable, in my humble opinion.
Say, guys, I'm just little
Nothing's wrong
and
with her.
I
wouldn't even
love
make a
my
video.
passy,
She's
okay?
smart,
I don't
babe.
care. I'm not making a video for anyone but myself. My husband's pissed because it's really annoying.
She was talking over him, so it was really hard to understand, but she has a husband in the background too. And he said to her, quote, nothing's wrong with her. I wouldn't even make a video. She's smart, babe. And it seems like he is recognizing that this is all really silly and a waste of time. Why are we even engaging in these comments? Why are you taking our 4-year-old and putting her on camera for this purpose? We know that she's smart and that she can talk, and we're not concerned as the parents about her pacifier, so why do we feel the need to prove that to strangers online? That seems to be the husband's perspective. And to that she said, I don't care. I'm not making this video for anybody but myself. Which is interesting because I believe that if you were truly unbothered by it, you know that your kid is happy, healthy, they're developing and growing normally, you're not concerned whatsoever, then why are you even entertaining these comments? And more importantly, why would you involve the child herself in this nonsense? I think that this mom realizes that she's got all these new eyes on her and she is running with it. And she's feeling insecure about these accusations about her parenting and about her child, and so she's putting forth the effort to address them, even if it's not really in the best interest of anybody but herself.
So to everyone that has something to say about how I raise my child and how I'm doing this and doing that, another comment this morning was how I shouldn't tell her she's smart because that is giving her a fixed mindset. What? People are literally insane. Like, y'all have got some serious issues. If a passy is that big of a deal, I need y'all to really reevaluate your life because our world is really messed up right now. And I'm gonna tell you right now, a passy is the least of my worries as far as how our kids are treated these days, how school systems are these days, and I don't care if teachers come for me. I don't care. There's a reason I homeschool. You can go on that video, you can pick apart every aspect of that video you want to, but it's not gonna stop us from doing what we do. So, I mean, whatever. Can you say bye, everyone?
Bye.
Say bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Say have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day.
Say peace. She really wants to do something else.
No. The daughter did a peace sign at the end of the video, and the mom was like, she really wants to do something else. What? What do you mean? Like, flip us off? Is that what you're referring to? She's 4. She's 4 years old. Like, she probably doesn't want to give us the middle finger because she shouldn't even know what the middle finger is at this age. And she has no concept of what you just involved her in or where this video is going to get broadcast to. Why would you allude to the fact that your 4-year-old really wants to flip everybody on the internet off, okay? We've got some bigger issues on our hands here, I'm afraid. But anyway, let's talk about this fixed mindset comment that somebody apparently gave her. I couldn't find that comment anywhere. I did try, but like I said, there's over 5,000 comments on that video of her homeschooling pacifier situation, so it's probably buried somewhere. I couldn't find it. Apparently somebody commented that she should not be calling her kid smart because that's giving her child a fixed mindset. And she got all offended by that. Like, that was the most ridiculous ridiculous thing she has ever heard in her entire life, okay? Which is more evidence for me that not all parents are effective homeschoolers. Because that was something that was actually taught to me in my elementary education master's program, that we should not be telling students, you're so smart or you're smart, labeling them as that. Which I completely agree does feel counterintuitive. Like, what do you mean it's a bad thing to be giving a child a compliment, to be praising them, to be building them up and calling them smart? Like, how could that possibly be negative to them, right? I was just trying to be nice and encouraging. Well, the psychology behind that is that when you praise a child for being, quote, smart, then research shows these children are less interested in the learning process itself because they believe that being smart is just who they are. It's just a part of their personality. It's a characteristic they hold. They have been told that they are smart. That is a label that they place on themselves now. So when these children inevitably struggle or they fail at a task, they blame themselves, thinking, I'm just not smart enough. I don't have the skills necessary to complete that task. That task is not for me. So therefore, I just give up. They believe that being smart is just a characteristic of theirs that is fixed. You're either smart or you're not, and it's something that cannot be changed. That's what's known as a fixed mindset. I can't do this thing because I'm not smart enough. I'll never be smart enough. Therefore, what's the point in trying? So yeah, that commenter who said on that video that calling your child smart or praising them for that is giving them a fixed mindset, that's rooted in evidence, okay? That is a well-known fact in the child development community, and educators, teachers are trained to not praise children for being, quote, smart. What they're encouraged to praise students for instead is their effort, their hard work. Yes, this is really tricky. This is challenging, but you know what? We need to keep working at it because you can do it. You have the skills. You're a hard worker and you can do whatever you set your mind to. This communicates the message to kids that persistence and struggle is a good thing because that's how we grow. And that if you keep at it, you're eventually going to get the hang of that new thing you're learning, and it's going to feel so good because it was really challenging and you overcame it. Children who are praised for their hard work and their effort are much more motivated to keep trying and working towards a task and not just give up because they feel like they're not smart enough. That's what's referred to as a growth mindset. This is something that trained educators know about, but not all parents do. And so in an interesting way, the comments on that initial video were judging her homeschooling technique and how she doesn't really know what she's doing and how these aren't strategies that are really good for kids. And so then her reasoning behind making this video with her daughter was to clap back at the haters to prove a point. But then in that clap back video, she's also inadvertently confirming some of the criticism of the original video that she doesn't know what she's doing. She scoffs at this comment that calling your kids smart promotes a fixed mindset, as if that's just a stupid comment to make, and who would possibly think that? When research supports that's actually the truth, but she's not a trained educator, so she wouldn't know that. So like, case in point. And my assumption is that this video didn't hit the way she thought it would. She thought she was proving a point. People probably called her out on how out of line this whole thing was, and she deleted it really quickly. Now that we have that context about why her initial video blew up and why she's got all these new eyes and attention on her page, I want to explore what she has since done with all that newfound attention. Because as I mentioned earlier, you have a few options. You have a decision here about how you're going to move forward, and a lot of that depends on your perception of the comments you're receiving. You can choose to take people's comments to heart. You can listen to what they're saying, you can accept their criticism, and you can learn and grow from it. You can choose to do nothing. If you're so secure in yourself and you know that you're doing what's best for you and for your family, then keep on keeping on. Ignore it. Don't feed into it. Be unbothered. Or you can label everybody as haters and then double down on those things that they're mad about while pretending to be unbothered. I'll give you one guess as to what this creator's approach has been. Well, you don't have to really guess because I'm going to show you. Let me just lay it out this way. She posted her original pacifier homeschooling video 1 week ago on a Friday. So I've been watching this play out for the last 6 days, and she has posted 9 additional videos addressing the pacifier situation or alluding to it in some way. It's kind of like she had this controversial viral moment and now she's continuing to clap back at the haters, right? Friday was the original video. Saturday was the video where she's forcing her kid to sit down and say words to the camera to prove her intelligence. But that wasn't all she posted on Saturday. She posted 3 other videos that day too. She posted this one that was like a morning routine video, and it simply said, "Happy Saturday to all of my new followers except the ones making rude comments over my toddler's passy." This is the first sign we're seeing of her hinting at how all of this is somehow benefiting her. Hi to all my new followers, right? Obviously calling attention to the fact that she's gaining more followers as a result of this viral moment, trying to make it seem like she's the one coming out on top somehow. Then later in the day, she posts this video of her bleaching her 4-year-old's hair, which which is just insane. This is the same 4-year-old that still uses a pacifier and her mom is giving her money pieces, like the little lighter sections right around her face. I feel like this was a deliberate video posted to rile up those new viewers as a form of rage bait, and it totally worked. Here's some of the comments on this video. My baby needs a pacifier, but also needs money pieces. The child still young enough for a passy is getting her hair bleached. Thumbs up. The toddler getting her hair bleached, LOL. Why are we even bleaching hair this young? And the creator responds, because I can. Continuing on with this whole like, I don't give an F attitude, I'm gonna do what I want and I hope that makes you mad. That's her approach, okay? Is it the right one? I don't think it is, but that's what she's doing regardless. Then she posts this get ready with me style video where she continues to address these haters.
I just realized the internet is wild. Absolutely wild. With all these crazy comments about my child's passy. I'm gonna have to have money for dental bills and all this crazy stuff. And guess what? I do. And no, it's not from TikTok.
Put a pin in that, okay? This comment about how she has money, don't worry about it, but it's not from TikTok. That becomes relevant later.
Y'all, man, y'all need some this in your life with all these crazy comments. I know when you post stuff on social media and like put yourself out there, you kind of ask for it, but like it'd be one thing if I actually cared, but I really don't. I mean, do y'all know how long I've been on the internet working online? I'm not new to this hate and negative comments and I know this and you should be doing this and you're not doing this right and blah 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 blah. Guess what? I don't care. I preach this all the time about who gives a crap what people have to say, and I truly mean that, because seriously, who gives a crap? Haters and negative comments get to me whether you think your opinion is right or not. I would have stopped a long time ago. If y'all think these comments about my child's passy is gonna get to me, you just keep going right ahead with your bad self, because I'm gonna read them and laugh. Now, let me just go on about my day. Per usual. I guess for me it's just odd because it's like the entitlement of some of you guys is actually insane. I've seen so many videos on here where I could say something if I really wanted to, but guess what? I don't really care. Okay, like that's the beauty of this world we live in. To each their own. Some of y'all really need to grasp that and stay in your own lane. I really don't even know why I'm feeling the need to even explain myself, because really it's not even that crucial. But hey, it makes for more content.
That right there is the crux of her motives. She sees all of this as a content opportunity. She's feeding off the negative attention and she's trying to spin it and justify it to herself so that she can sleep at night. Hey, it's more content. Hey, it's more views. Hey, it's more followers, more money, whatever it is. She wants you to believe that all of this is just rolling off her back. She doesn't care. It's all good. I'm coming out on top in this situation. But she's not fooling anyone, okay? You can tell. This is really getting to her, or else she would not keep putting this much energy into it. She said 3 times in this video so far about how much she doesn't care, but something tells me she kind of does care. Like, it's almost like she's trying to say it out loud so that she starts to believe it, right? I don't care. It's fine. I don't care about this. It's all good. It's just more content, right? And I think this is why creators tend to think that like any attention is good attention, right? Even if it's negative, it's still benefiting you in some way. Is that true? I don't necessarily believe so. Maybe in the short term, definitely not in the long term. And we'll come back to this later and talk a little bit more about that.
And also, for those of you that were wondering, I've also decided I bought her the brightest pink passy I could find. So now is gonna have at 4 years old with her bright pink single video, just to irk y'all. Just to irk y'all. Actually, I thought about buying a different color for every outfit so that it matches her pajamas every single morning when we start homeschool. before we get ready, you know, because heaven forbid her start school in her pajamas, and heaven forbid her have a passy in her mouth, and heaven forbid her mom tell her she's smart, because that might not give her growth mindset, and heaven forbid, you know, we baby our kids a little bit at 4 years old.
The problem is that she's just writing all these people off as haters, and she's not understanding that there is merit to what they're saying. They have a point. There's a reason they're concerned. And I just wanted to pause right here because I noticed that in the background, one of her older daughters comes up and kind of leans on the wall, and she's watching her mom speak this way to TikTok. And her face is going to be heavily blurred, but she's sitting there kind of like this. She's looking like a little confused, a little perplexed, like what's mom doing over here? What are you doing? Like, who are you talking to that's making you so heated about this thing, right? And this is a pattern and a theme with her, that she is acting in certain ways in front of her children that I don't believe are very positive examples for children. You can let me know if you agree or disagree with that in the comments, but in my perception of this, she is setting the example that the attitude is to be nasty and to clap back, right? And her girls are absorbing that. They are looking to her as an example of how to handle certain situations, and this is the message she's sending them.
Someone also said, you knew what you were doing when you posted that video. You knew people were going to come for you. And so anyways, with that being said, y'all have a fabulous Saturday. And actually, if you're a little stressed, how about go buy your own passy? It might make a difference. Bye.
What a nasty attitude to have about the whole thing, right? I agree that I do think she knew exactly what she was doing when she posted that video. I think that it could have likely been a form of rage bait to like put the daughter front and center with a pacifier in her mouth. And if that is the case, shame on her. And I feel like that was the case because just then she was acknowledging that people have that opinion that it was rage bait, and she went, and? Almost acknowledging like, yeah, and it worked. So there you go. I'm not going to show you the 4-year-old's face because I don't want to subject her to any more scrutiny, as her mom appears to enjoy doing. But I will say that it is of my opinion, based on what I'm seeing with my own eyes, that the damage to her teeth and her facial structure is severe. Even with her mouth completely closed, you can see that her jaw's resting position is not what it should be. The overbite is so severe that you can't see her bottom lip when her mouth is resting and closed. It like juts out so far that it hangs down over, and it does affect her speech, and you can see that and you can hear it in the video of her talking. And I'm not saying any of this to pass judgment on a literal helpless 4-year-old, okay? I'm making the point that this is an obvious issue, one that is likely causing her child permanent damage that's gonna have to be corrected in the future. It's gonna be expensive, and it's gonna be painful, and it's gonna be unnecessary because you're doubling down and refusing to give up the pacifier, right? I'm saying that people in the comments are absolutely justified in their concern, and instead of acting like an adult and doing what's best for the child and taking the pacifier away, she's bragging about how she got her daughter the brightest pink pacifier she could possibly find. And her video was choppy and it got kind of cut up in there, but she was saying and making the point that she's gonna show her daughter in every video using her pacifier just to piss people off. I'm sorry, but what kind of mother makes parenting decisions in the interest of rage baiting people on the internet? Decisions that actively do more harm to the child when you know that there's a problem that needs to be addressed. Who does things that are actively not in the best interest of your child, but are in the best interest of drumming up engagement on TikTok? It's abhorrent. She should be ashamed of herself. This comment I saw, shocking. Absolutely disgusted me. You might remember at the start of this clip, she made a comment about how she doesn't care how expensive dental work is going to be because it's fine. She's rich. She has money. Somebody commented, money does not translate into good parenting. To which this mother responded, you must not have any then. Oh my gosh! It's just insane. Like, how is that your response to this comment? How is that what your brain goes to? What is wrong with you? Like, this woman's level of immaturity is astounding. It's so rude and it's distasteful, and it shows your true character to be positioning yourself as better than someone else because you have money and they don't. You're exposing yourself and admitting that you think that money makes you a good person or a good parent. Or perhaps she's just commenting things that she knows are gonna make people really angry as another form of rage bait, okay? And here's some other comments I saw across her account that made it very clear that she's milking milking this for all it's worth and that everything very well could be rage bait. Someone said, "You swear that you're so unbothered," and she said, "Never, makes for great content." Someone else said, "Oh, she's bothered," and she responded saying, "So bothered just watching my account grow. Thanks, boo. Heck, drop all the negative comments you want. Let's get this mama to 10K. And at this point, I was like, hold on. This woman has less than 10,000 followers? That was actually really shocking to me for some reason, and I'm not trying to follower shame at all. Everyone has to start somewhere, right? It was just really surprising because I saw that viral video. It got 5 million views. It had 5,000 comments. Those are numbers that you would typically associate with someone with a much higher follower count. So when my first impression of her was that video, I just kind of assumed she was like this bigger influencer, maybe more established. But I went to her profile and I was shocked to see she only has 7,000 followers, which again is still a lot. That's not insignificant. I just think I expected it to be a lot higher given the amount of engagement her account has been seeing this week. I thought she was like a very well-established, well-known influencer that I just hadn't come across yet, but it turns out that it looks like she's maybe still in the early stages of her social media journey. And I also learned by looking at her account that her name is Whitney, by the way. We can start calling her Whitney instead of just the mom, right? And by looking at her TikTok account as a whole now, we see a much clearer picture of what's going on this week. Here's a screenshot of her account featuring videos that were posted in early August of 2025, just 1 month ago, 1 month before this video blew up. Her videos at that time were consistently getting a couple hundred views. 500, 300, 700. And then the video featuring her daughter and the homeschooling and the pacifier blew up on September 5th, getting 5 million views. And what you'll notice in the days since is that she's now raking in not hundreds of views, but hundreds of thousands of views. And she's thriving on this newfound attention, as I keep saying. I was curious if her claims about getting all these new followers were true, so I went to Social Blade to see if I could confirm any of that. Social Blade is a website where you can search different internet personalities and you can see stats about their social media platforms. I will say, Social Blade is very accurate about reporting on things like follower count and view counts, because those things are public-facing numbers that anybody can look at any time, and so their software just kind of keeps track of those public numbers and accumulates them into a chart, essentially. So you can literally see like, oh, Hannah gained 100 subscribers on this day and lost 300 that day, or whatever it is. But it's not accurate for reporting pretty much anything else, right? Like the back-end numbers that only creators can see. Social Blade does a really poor job estimating those things, in my opinion, based on what I've seen. But their follower tallies are very accurate. So I was hoping that I could like look her up and see, oh yeah, on September 5th, she posted this video. And then in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th of September, she got a whole bunch of new followers on that graph. But to my surprise, she's not even on Social Blade yet, because apparently they have a 25,000 follower count minimum to appear on their website. I did not know that before now. Again, not trying to follower shame or anything, I'm just stating the facts. I don't have any hardcore evidence or proof or screenshots of exactly how many followers she's been gaining thanks to Social Blade, but I will say that over the course of the few days that I was preparing for this video, she did gain like a couple thousand followers, which is not insignificant. A couple thousand, that's a lot of people. But again, considering that her videos are getting hundreds of thousands, millions of views now, I would have expected that number to be a lot higher or increasing at a much faster rate, which then led me to notice that like I feel like her ratios are kind of skewed. For example, her video could be getting 300,000 views, but it only has 600 likes and less than 100 comments. That's not a very ideal ratio to have for engagement numbers. That's a pretty clear sign that maybe a lot of people are kind of like peeping on what's going on over here, on all the drama, but they're not engaging with it. And that's kind of a problem because the algorithm cares a lot more about the engagement, the likes, the comments, and the saves than it does about the views. What good is it to your overall growth on TikTok to have a ton of views, but no one's really engaging with your content? No one's following you at a significant rate because of that content. That's what you really want, right? All of that to say that she's really trying to put on this front that the hate and the negativity, it's not getting to her, it's not bothering her. If anything, it's benefiting her. But the cold hard numbers on her account do not really reflect that same story that she's telling herself. It's a defense mechanism of hers to make it seem like she's doing a lot better than she actually is, and probably just to help her cope with all the negativity being thrown her way right now. And most of what she's posted since the pacifier video has been feeding off of the negativity of the pacifier video. So let's continue down that list of things that she's posted. This one really bothered me the most. It's a video with one of her older daughters. I think it's the same daughter that that was kind of hanging out in the background listening to her mom talk in the last video, and they're lip syncing the Taylor Swift song called I Forgot That You Existed. The text on the screen says, teaching my daughters how to handle haters. And the line that they're singing for the camera is, I forgot that you existed and I thought that it would kill me, but it didn't. And the two of them, I know that the child is blurred, but they have the most insane amount of attitude on both of their faces. Like mother, like daughter. Wow. And the comments on this video are kind of calling that out. This one says, same maturity level between the mom and daughter. It's giving, they're just jealous of you. I always wondered about the parents of the bullies in school. This answered all of my questions. The parents are the ones teaching them and encouraging it. Whoa, she's gonna be one of those. And the mom responds, what? One of those who don't give a crap about your opinions? Yup, I'll keep doing that. Yeah, yikes. You know, I feel bad making commentary about a literal child, but let's just say that if you're an educator, you know exactly what this behavior looks like in your classroom, and it's not pretty. Students with this kind of behavior are often entitled and defiant and very challenging to deal with. They disrupt the classroom setting. So I guess in that regard, it's probably best that she is homeschooled. But the point is that all of these things are learned behaviors from their influences at home. Exhibit A. One of the comments on this video with her daughter absolutely floored me. Somebody commented, you remind me of Ruby Frankie. And Whitney responded by saying, at least she's pretty. If you know anything about Ruby Frankie, you understand how absolutely unhinged that response is. Ruby Frankie is a former mommy vlogger YouTuber who is now a convicted felon for child abuse. Many documentaries made about her. I think everyone needs to watch them. It really does describe the dangers of family vlogging, mommy vlogging, showing children on the internet. All parents need to know about Ruby Frankie, okay? So I will link some of those documentaries below. And speaking of Ruby Frankie, her daughter, Sherry, wrote a book called The House of My Mother, and I keep it in the background of my videos because this is really the first account we have as a society of a child reporting on what it was like to be the child of a mommy vlogger. It details all the abuse that her and her siblings endured at the hands of her mother, and it serves as a cautionary tale of how dangerous mommy vlogging and influencing can be and why we should keep our children offline. I actually just want to read you the back of this cover. It says, I don't remember the exact moment when the cameras first started rolling. All I know is that one day we were just a regular family going about our lives. The next, there was a janky camera constantly pointed in our direction, documenting our every move for the consumption of strangers on the internet. As the numbers climbed, a nagging thought kept creeping into my mind. Surely at some point people would get bored of this. Surely one day this would all end and our lives could go back to normal. Little did I know that the normal was a luxury we had already left far behind. This book feels like a landmark account of the dangers of family vloggers, and it's something that's hopefully going to help shape future legislation. So I like to display it in the background of my videos along with my other like anti-MLM pyramid scheme books because it really does represent one of the core values of my channel, which is we should be questioning what influencers are doing. What are their motives? Why are they doing these things? Is it really worth it? Is it ethical? So when a commenter says you give Ruby Frankie vibes, that's not a good sign, okay? Really bad, really heavy insult, okay? And when you respond to that by saying, well, at least she's pretty, that tells me everything I need to know about your character and about your motives here on social media and your values. That in your eyes, being pretty outweighs being a child abuser. Your values skewed. Your motives questionable. Lots of red flags waving. And again, it probably is all just a rage bait tactic, but the more comments I see from Whitney, the more turned off I become, the more inexcusable her actions seem. Continuing on with her barrage of attempted clapbacks though, on Sunday she posted 2 more lip syncing videos. This one says, when they mad and it shows, keep watching baby, as she's lip syncing to a Cardi B song. And then this second one says, I'ma keep laughing all the way to the bank, and she's lip syncing to another Cardi B song that is particularly raunchy. And look, I'm no prude, but like, you're having a pool day with your kids. They're in their backyard, okay? And her daughter's over here in the background having a pool day, and mom is over here in the corner lip syncing Keep a Hater Obsessed in my comments having a dick sucking contest, Cardi B lyrics to engage with her haters on TikTok. Do you really think that this is an appropriate setting for this, where your kids are watching you and learning from your behavior? Get a grip, woman. You are an adult. This is so embarrassing for you. And claiming that she's she's, quote, laughing all the way to the bank is even more embarrassing when you remember that in order to be a part of the TikTok Creator Rewards program where your platform is monetized on TikTok, you have to have at least 10,000 followers, which she doesn't. So she's not actually making any money on these TikTok videos at all. How is she laughing all the way to the bank exactly when you're not making any money on these views? And even if you were making good money off these views, how is that a justification for your behavior? Are you proud of yourself that being nasty is making you money? Is it really worth the cost to your reputation and the public perception of you? I don't think so. Her videos are not monetized at this point, but it's clear that getting to 10,000 followers is a goal of hers, and she's using this viral pacifier video and the coattails of that as the avenue to capitalize on people's attention while she still has it. So she posted those 2 lip-syncing Cardi B videos on Sunday, and then on Monday she posted about the exact curriculum she uses for her homeschooling program because people seem to be concerned about that, and she says that it's called The Good and the Beautiful. When I looked up the Good and the Beautiful curriculum, I learned that this is a Christian homeschool program created by Mormons, and that in itself can be seen as somewhat controversial or problematic. I, of course, have not seen the curriculum with my own eyes, so I don't know if this is true, but some of the reviews I was reading about it were that there's a lot of like LDS doctrine within this program that some parents might not agree with. While other critiques saying that it wasn't Christian enough, that it wasn't religious enough for their liking, and they wanted to be more God-centered. So I don't really know where the line is there. All I know is people have mixed reviews about this curriculum. And I just want to point out the contrast between using a faith-based homeschool curriculum and then observing the example that the mother herself sets for her children is very jarring. It's like you want to teach your kids these values with this Christian homeschool curriculum, but at the same time, you're over here talking about dick sucking on your TikTok. So it's like Cardi B lyrics on Sunday, homeschool curriculum on Monday. On Tuesday, she posts another video. This one, the text on it says, "I didn't realize my life was your full-time job." And once again, the lyrics playing in the background were like, oh, like I'm not a prude, but I was kind of clutching my pearls. They say, quote, "You don't like me, get in line, ho. I be on your mind though. Bitch, you know I'm poppin'. You just hatin' cause I'm fine, ho. Bitch, eat a dick." What? Like, let's just have a moment of silence for that. What are you even doing? Nothing like some vulgar TikTok videos to really break up that Christian homeschooling routine, you know? I could not write this better myself if I tried. And once again, she's filming this in the car. That audio is playing in the presence of her children, of her young daughters. And then later that same day, she posts this video saying, "Huge shout out to all the haters." And it's Cardi B again, but this time it's an audio clip of her acceptance speech that she gave at the iHeartRadio Music Awards several years ago, where she's talking like, "Thanks to all my haters who still download my music because it benefits me," right? So Whitney, this creator, is kind of equating herself to Cardi B in the same sentiment of like, my haters are making me money. But girl, it's not benefiting you. It's objectively making you look really, really bad, but I don't think she sees it that way. She's trying to justify it that this is a good thing for her, all this negative attention. And I want to tie up one last loose end of context here. I saw this comment. Somebody said, kind of harshly in my opinion, but she said, "Shout out to all the homeschooling parents because your kids don't take up any space in college admissions." To which Whitney responded, "They won't need college. They'll be entrepreneurs like their mother." Any guesses out there on what this entrepreneurial endeavor must be? If you watch a lot of my videos, you already know what's coming for you. This woman is in an MLM. Of course she is. Of course she's in an MLM. Wouldn't you know it, if you go to her bio, it says that she is one of the top leaders of Pharmacy Official. Pharmacy with an F, not a P. They're an MLM company that sells cosmetics and things like that. But she says, "Click the link below to work with me." Oh my gosh, like of course she's in an MLM. Everything makes sense, right? It all is clicking into place perfectly here. Because I've been saying it all along that I feel like she's really in this for the views and for the attention. She's milking it. She's really taking her 15 minutes of fame as far as she can. And she's sort of making people believe that like this is benefiting her financially, that she's laughing all the way to the bank and whatnot. But that doesn't make any sense because her TikTok isn't monetized. And remember in that video from earlier, she made a comment about not worrying about money. She's got money for dental bills, but it's not coming from TikTok. That comment makes perfect sense now because she's peddling makeup for an MLM. It all clicks that she's probably viewing all of this new attention as a way to potentially funnel traffic to her pharmacy business. Any attention is good attention because that's more eyes on my stuff. People will go to my profile. They'll see that I work with pharmacy. They'll see the products I'm using in my videos. They'll ask about them. I'll be able to sell the products. I'll be able to recruit people. And you know what? It appears to somewhat be working. Here's some comments I found of people asking about certain makeup products that she's using in her more recent videos, but these ones went unanswered. But here are some comments where she did answer by either leaving them a direct commissionable link to her pharmacy website, or by telling them that they can find these products at the link in her bio, or telling her the name of them and saying, I sell it, babe. Let me know and I'll shoot you the link, kind of thing. And I really feel like that's the piece of context I needed for all of this to make sense. This is someone who has been in an MLM for however many years, and she's been on TikTok. She's been trying to make it work. It really does feel like she's trying to give influencer vibes. She posts a lot of get ready with me's, a lot of daily routine type stuff, a lot of lifestyle content where she works her pharmacy business into it. And she's been at this for a while, but her account hasn't really gained much traction until now. It's sort of like she's unlocked the formula, like piss people off and they will come, right? Make people really mad, and that's gonna help my account get more eyes so that I can make more sales through my MLM. The phenomenon in this whole situation that inspired me to want to make this video is this idea that all attention is good attention. Is it though? Because I don't think it is. I never really have subscribed to that idea. I've had a hard time understanding it really, because what it comes down to is sustainability and longevity. Is it worth risking your long-term reputation for the short-term attention? I personally don't think it is. I think that's a terrible approach because the internet moves so fast. They're gonna forget about all of this by next week. Something new is gonna come up where it's gonna pull all the attention. And I predict that her view counts are gonna dwindle back down. This was like a peak in her engagement, and it's gonna go back to maybe not the original levels it was, but it's gonna have a pretty steep drop off. The name of the game in social media is to cultivate an authentic, organic following or viewership. Rage baiting is a very unsustainable strategy. It is not a good way to create lasting growth. If your goal is to grow on social media for one reason or another, rage baiting is not the way to get there. That is a fast track to lose credibility, to annoy people, and to harm your reputation. Maybe you're getting a bunch of new followers right now in the moment because they're signing on to watch the train wreck as it goes down, but they're not genuinely interested in you or your content. These kinds of followers are not the ones you want to go after because they're typically passive followers. They sit back, they observe, they don't engage, they kind of hate watch you for whatever reason, and then they might eventually unfollow you. And so creators who start to rage bait fall into this trap of feeling like they have to continue to rage bait to keep those people who join them for rage baiting engaged. What happens is creators will see how effective rage baiting is at stimulating activity on their accounts. And it's almost like they get addicted to it in a way. They fall into this cycle of posting something that gets outrage, and then they ride that wave for a little while, and then they post something else egregious and they ride that wave, then they post something else that makes people mad and they ride that wave. You get the point. And there comes a time where they have completely lost themselves in the process of trying to maintain their relevance. They're chasing the views and the attention and the money at whatever cost to their own reputation. Is the money really worth it if you're losing yourself in the process? I don't think it is, personally. And I think where people are really taking an issue with Whitney's case specifically is that she's using her child as the rage bait target of her audience, which takes it to an extra problematic level. She's like, okay, I've recognized that you don't like that my daughter uses a pacifier. Well, guess what? I'm doubling down. We're continuing the problematic behavior. I'm going to continue doing harm to my child in the name of making you mad. And what is interesting is, to this point, it's been 6 days now since she posted the original pacifier video. She has not posted another video with her 4-year-old featuring a pacifier. I hope that some common sense did get knocked into her and that she does not go through with this rage baiting strategy of putting her child on camera continuously. It's not too late to make a different choice, and I hope she does. But my opinion of her and other influencers like her that engage in rage baiting techniques is that they thrive off the attention, positive or negative. Either way, it's still a dopamine hit. It does something to your brain to be seeing all of these comments and all these notifications and activity, even if those things are coming from a place of negativity. And I think that's a really treacherous path to go down, where you're now like seeking this dopamine hit at whatever cost, and now you're threatening to use your child as the avenue to receive that kind of attention. And on that note, that's everything I have for this video. I hope that it wasn't too all over the place. I recognize that maybe it was. We talked about pacifier teeth and homeschooling and why you shouldn't call kids smart because it puts them in a fixed mindset and stuff, right? I know we went in like a lot of different tangents and directions in this video, but at the core of it all, I think it is really fascinating to analyze certain behaviors on social media and try and figure out why people are making the choices they're making, right? The story could have been written an entirely different way, where she could have said, oh yeah, you know what? You guys are right. Maybe my daughter is a little too old for a pacifier. You've really given me something to think about. Thanks for your insight. But you know what? That wouldn't have gotten views. That would not have gotten the same amount of engagement or attention. And so within that really lies the motive, right? This creator found her 15 minutes of fame through her child's pacifier situation. And honestly, I feel like she made herself look even worse in the aftermath of all of that. I feel like maybe some of these videos that she posted in the wake of this viral moment were in poor taste, quite cringy, and kind of contribute to this whole like train wreck scenario that we're engaging in right now, right? We're interested, we're tuning in, we're watching you, but it's not coming from a place of authentic support for you as a creator, and it's not contributing to a genuine following. And those are the things that are going to carry you through long term if you want to be successful on social media. So to that I say, maybe people need to start rethinking the rage baiting strategy. I feel like viewers now are catching on to it way too fast, and it's just kind of becoming annoying and exhausting to have to watch. Chasing attention and views at whatever cost, it's just not a good look. And I feel like we need to be reevaluating the social media strategy here. And with that, I would love to know your thoughts on this whole situation down below. How is this striking you? Is it rubbing you the wrong way too? Do you think that she was intentionally rage baiting with that first pacifier video? Or do you think that she was just posting her normal life? The internet caught on to something they didn't like and she's riding the wave with it. I think there could be a lot of different ways to interpret this situation, so I'm curious to hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.